This episode is sponsored by Alcor. Global hiring for engineering teams can be a nightmare. Too many providers, hidden fees, slow support, and local rules that don't make sense. Alcor is a different kind of EOR partner. They're built for tech companies scaling across borders with deep expertise in Eastern Europe and Latin America. Alcor combines employer of record services with tech recruiting, helping you choose the right country, find and assess engineers, and onboard them in days, not months. Nearly 85% of what you pay goes straight to your engineers. Alcor's fee decreases as your team grows, and you can always bring the team in-house with zero exit fee. That's why Silicon Valley startups, including 5 unicorns, work with Alcor. Learn more at alcor.com/podcast or tap the link in the show notes. This episode is sponsored by EquityBee. Stock options can be valuable, but exercising them often means taking on real financial risk, putting tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars out of pocket with uncertainty around the outcome makes exercising a difficult decision for many startup employees. And that's where EquityBee comes in. EquityBee helps you exercise your options without using your own capital. No out-of-pocket costs. They provide non-recourse funding to cover exercise costs and taxes. There's no repayment unless the company has an exit. With EquityBee, you don't leave your equity behind. Go to codestory.co/EquityBee to learn more. See terms and conditions in the sponsors section of the episode page. That's codestory.co/EquityBee.
The main challenge back then was data. So we tried to record a lot of noisy conversation, tried to apply the different tactics to generate a huge amount of data to train our proprietary machine learning model. And it took about a year before we got a really working prototype for the technology. And our primary idea back then was to license the technology to the big companies, right? But then we realized that we need to have some demo for that, right? We need to give our potential customers a tool to assess the technology faster and easier. That's why we decided to build our desktop application. My name is Arto Minasyan. I'm co-founder and president at Krisp.ai.
This is Code Story, a podcast bringing you interviews with tech visionaries.
Spent 6 months moonlighting.
There's nothing on the back end.
Who share what it takes to change an industry.
I don't exactly know what to do next.
Took many goes to get right.
Who built the teams that have their back.
A company is its people.
The teams help each other achieve more.
Most proud of our team.
Keeping scalability top of mind.
All that infrastructure was a
Yes, we've been fighting it as we grow.
Total waste of time.
The stories you don't read in the headlines.
It's not an easy thing to achieve, mind
Took
you.
it off the shelf and dusted it off and tried it again.
To ride the ups and downs of the startup life.
You need to really want it.
It's not just about technology.
All this and more on Code Story. I'm your host, Noah Laupart, and today how Arto Minasyan built the best AI meeting assistant with bot-free recording and noise cancellation.
This episode is sponsored by BrainGrid. If you are building with AI coding tools, but your features keep breaking, you need to check out BrainGrid. It is the product management agent for AI builders. BrainGrid turns messy ideas into clear specs, tasks, and prompts that coding agents like Cursor and Claude can actually build the right way. Ship real software, not fragile prototypes. Start free at braingrid.ai. This episode is sponsored by Unblocked. AI code generation is moving fast, but quality and confidence, well, they haven't kept pace. The core problem is shared context. Unblocked was built to solve this specific problem. The code review platform is built on the same context senior engineers rely on when reviewing code. The result is fewer comments, higher signal, and reviews teams actually trust. Get a free 3-week trial at getunblocked.com/codestory. That's getunblocked.com/codestory. This episode is sponsored by Mesmo. If your team is collecting large volumes of logs, metrics, and traces, but still struggling to get timely answers, Mesmo can help. Mesmo is an active telemetry platform that processes and enriches observability data in real time before it's stored or analyzed. That means lower data volume, lower cost, and faster root cause analysis across your existing observability tools. To see how it works, get a demo at mesmo.com/codestory. That's MEZMO.com/codestory. Today's episode is brought to you by .tech domains, and this one hits close to home. Back in 2016, I was building my startup and went hunting for that perfect .com and found next to nothing. So I did what every founder does. Settled. Here's what I wish someone had told me. You're building a tech startup. Just get a .tech domain. It instantly tells investors and customers what you're about. Don't overthink it. Get a .tech domain for your startup today.
Arto Minasyan is originally from Armenia. He's a serial entrepreneur, having started 7 companies, selling 4 of them. He used to be into the sciences, having his PhD in mathematics and machine learning. But outside of tech, he's married with 2 kids. He loves to read novels and, in fact, writes books himself, mainly his memoirs. He loves to ski, and aligned with his Armenian heritage, he loves to spend time with his big family. Arto and his colleague got breakfast together and started talking through an idea around clean audio for conferencing and beyond. They built a prototype, and then COVID hit, which made their tool very popular. This is the creation story of Krisp.ai.
So we call us Voice AI Productivity Company. We pioneered several technologies. The first one was AI noise cancellation back in 2017. And then we also introduced AI accent conversion, which converts different accents to neutral American accent. We are powering many of voice bots in the industry with our technologies, call centers, private companies. We have hundreds of thousands individuals and small businesses using Krisp. So basically what we do, with Voice AI, we make meetings more productive. And our product works across all the conferencing apps, all the calling apps, which makes Krisp basically a must-have tool for any professional who is having a lot of calls, starting from call center agents to sales guys to podcasters and so on. As I shared, my background was in math, and I've been looking in some real-life problem that I can apply machine learning to solve it. So I met with my current co-founder, David, in 2016 for a breakfast in Armenia. And then he shared this idea of solving a noise issue in phone calls, in conference calls using machine learning. So I got excited, and after a year, we got the prototype of the technology. Then we moved to US, got into Berkeley Skydeck acceleration program, raised some seed capital. And by 2020, we already had a very well working technology and an app. And then when COVID hit, we basically had a tech which was very useful for everyone working from home, right? Because at home, you have a lot of background noise. You have kids crying, dogs barking, just neighbors making random noise and so on. And Krisp basically became very popular back then. But we didn't stop at this one technology, and we decided to expand our offering with different AI technologies. So we introduced accent conversion, meeting transcription, summarization. Now, recently we also introduced voice translation technology. So the offering expanded from just one feature to lineup of different voice AI technologies. And we have basically the ambition to grow the company number 1 voice AI solution in the market by bringing the best voice AI tech, either in-house, built in-house, or just integrating the right voice AI tech into Krisp applications.
Let's dive into the first version of Krisp, that MVP version that you built. How long did it take to build, and what sort of tools were you using to bring it to life?
First, we built the technology, and it was a machine learning model, a neural network that we trained in-house. And back then, we didn't have a lot of GPUs, and we didn't have knowledge in different frameworks, TensorFlow and others. So we built a lot of things in-house, trying to train the neural network. And the main challenge back then was data. So we tried to record a lot of noisy conversation, tried to apply different techniques to generate a huge amount of data to train our proprietary machine learning model. And it took about a year before we got a really working prototype for the technology. And our primary idea back then was to license the technology to the big companies, right? So any other conferencing solution or a phone manufacturer can embed our technology inside their product. But then we realized that we need to have some demo for that, right? We need to give our potential customers a tool to assess the technology faster and easier when they just can do, let's say, with API or SDK. That's why we decided to build our desktop application. And the idea was to build like a virtual microphone which sits on desktop computer. The first version was for Mac. And then when audio goes through our virtual microphone, we can apply algorithms and basically modify the audio stream and get rid of the noise. It took probably around a year before we got the first working version. Actually, building an app for Mac back then was a really hard thing, especially for the audio. But we managed to build like a very well working app. So we launched it on Product Hunt and on Hacker News, and we got like a Product of the Year in the audio category in that year. It was also like super exciting, but this early community of tech enthusiasts really appreciated our tech and our product. But it felt like the story. Then we realized that the app by its own could be a huge business. Beyond licensing technology, we can also sell app licenses to companies by seat. And now I think like 80% of our revenue comes from the app business and just 20% from the licensing.
This episode is sponsored by BrainGrid. Building with AI coding tools is exciting until the moment things start breaking. You ask for a small change and suddenly 3 other features stop working. AI gets confused, misses edge cases, and loses track of your intent. The problem is not code generation. The problem is planning. That is why BrainGrid exists. BrainGrid acts as your product management agent. It writes clear specification, maps UX flows, asks the clarifying questions you forgot to ask, and breaks big ideas into engineering-grade tasks that AI coding tools can build reliably. It guides Cursor, Claude Code, Replit, Windsurf, and others so they deliver features that work and keep working. Founders use BrainGrid to build real AI-native SaaS products without a technical background. If you want reliable features instead of fragile prototypes, try BrainGrid for free at braingrid.ai. That's braingrid.ai. Today's episode is brought to you by .tech domains, and this one hits close to home. Back in 2016, when I was building my own tech startup, I went on the hunt for that elusive .com. Looked high, looked low, and guess what I found? Nothing. What I did find cost me an arm and a leg. So I did what every founder does under pressure. Threw in extra letters, settled for the less than optimal name. And here's what I wish someone had said to me back then. Noah, you're building a tech startup. Just get a .tech domain. Tech startup, .tech domain. It could not be more obvious. It tells investors, customers, and anyone who looks at your website, really, that tech is at the core of your build. And I've kicked myself plenty since, especially when I see the clean and sharp names tech companies have landed on .tech. Nothing.tech, 1x.tech, Aurora.tech, CES.tech, Ultra.tech, Alice.tech, Neon.tech, Blaze.tech, Pi.tech. You get the idea. So take it from someone who learned it the hard way. If you're building a tech startup, don't overthink it. Get a .tech domain. This episode is sponsored by Alcor. Global hiring for engineering teams can be a nightmare. Too many providers, hidden fees, slow support, and local rules that don't make sense. Alcor is a different kind of EOR partner. They're built for tech companies scaling across borders with deep expertise in Eastern Europe and Latin America. Alcor combines employer of record services with tech recruiting, helping you choose the right country, find and assess engineers, and onboard them in days, not months. Nearly 85% of what you pay goes straight to your engineers. Alcor's fee decreases as your team grows, and you can always bring the team in-house with zero exit fee. That's why Silicon Valley startups, including 5 unicorns, work with Alcor. Learn more at alcor.com/podcast or tap the link in the show notes. So then from that point, right, when you've got the technology, the MVP built, I'm curious about how you went about progressing and maturing the product. And you kind of touched on it a little bit, but I want to wrap that in a box a little bit and say, how did you build your roadmap? How did you go about deciding that, okay, this is the next most important thing to build or to address with Krisp?
So at the beginning, we made a decision to limit our roadmap with just one big feature, which is like noise cancellation, and just to make app as stable as possible. Actually supporting like 500 different conferencing apps, calling apps on desktop, also supporting thousands of different microphones and headphones. It's not like that easy that it can sound. And then we decided also to bring it to Windows because like most of the enterprises are using Windows. So for 3 years, we just had this one technology and we did all our go-to-market based on this one feature and one technology. And we grew the company to the significant revenue before we made a decision to add new feature to the product. But I realized that the current situation is very different in the market. So you need to be in a rush, you need to add more features. On the other hand, I think the best startups always find like with one big use case, solve it entirely, make people really love their product before they start scaling the product with different features. So that was our strategy. We even had a motto saying one button, no noise. So basically all the features that we had in the app was just one button, right? You click it and the noise disappears. And all our marketing, product, everything was just around this simple but very powerful solution before we got to the point that we felt that we have resources to scale the product and the business.
So how did you build your team? How did you go about finding, the right people to come help you with this? And what did you look for in them to indicate that they were the winning horses to join you?
The company is all about people. And we were fortunate enough to find like very talented engineers and PhDs in Armenia. I did like a PhD in mathematics. I had like a lot of connections in the scientific sector. So we recruited a couple of people from like academia to work on our core technology. And then like some talented backend and app engineers joined the company. And I think this is like an unfair advantage for a startup building the company outside of US when you are not competing, let's say, with Google of the world, and you can hire like the best talent in your local community, in your country, and then do like breakthrough with a few people, which gives you like a chance to build like a big business. And then when you already have some traction, it's much easier to attract like more capital, more talent and so on. So it becomes like a working machine. But at the beginning, I think we were fortunate to start from Armenia and attract very talented world-class people just because we were like one of the most interesting companies and products in the market to work for.
This episode is sponsored by Mesmo. If you're responsible for reliability, performance, or platform architecture, you already know the problem. Telemetry volume is growing faster than teams can manage it. Mesmo addresses this by moving observability upstream. Instead of storing everything and asking questions later, Mesmo processes telemetry in motion, filtering, transforming, and enriching logs, metrics, and traces before they reach your observability backend. The result is cleaner data, reduced ingestion costs, and faster root cause analysis using the tools you already rely on. Mesmo integrates with platforms like Datadog, Dynatrace, and open source stacks, giving teams more control without adding operational overhead. This is especially useful for platform engineers and SREs supporting complex distributed systems where context and speed matter. To see how active telemetry works in practice, get a demo at mesmo.com/codestory. That's MEZMO.com/codestory.
This episode is sponsored by Unblocked. There's a good chance you've already tried a few AI code review tools, and you're probably ignoring most of their comments. Not because AI can't review code, but because it's missing context. Most AI reviewers focus on surface-level issues, style nits, obvious refactors, or restating what's already clear from the diff. Meanwhile, the things you actually care about, like whether a change violates an earlier architectural decision or quietly duplicates existing logic, go unnoticed. That's the problem Unblocked is built to solve. Unblocked's AI code review is grounded in decision-grade context, prior PRs, design discussions, documentation, and system-level constraints, the same context senior engineers rely on when reviewing code. Teams using Unblocked report fewer comments, higher signal, and automated reviews they actually trust, enough that many have turned off other review tools entirely. Even if you've already written off AI code review, Unblocked is worth a look. Get a free 3-week trial at getunblocked.com/codestory.
That's getunblocked.com/codestory. So this will be interesting, my next question around scalability. And I'm curious where this comes into play. Where did you have to factor scale into your decision-making? And were there interesting areas where you had to fight it as you grew?
Scalability is a super important concept for a startup because startup is all about the scale, how big you can get in the next 5-10 years, right? And we even have a value in our company values called growth. So you need to grow as a company, as an individual, and as a team. And it has like many different levels. At the product level, I think we made a very right decision back then to build our technology on device. So all our tech back then was running on device, which gave us a huge advantage, right? Because we basically didn't have any cost on GPUs, on servers, and so on. So our like gross margin was, 97% or something back then, which allowed to do only the distribution without the scaling costs. The second was how you scale the team. So we got this early traction. We raised some amount of money in Series A. So we had the money and the traction. So we decided to scale the team. But I think we were not ready to scale team that quickly. So we made like several mistakes by hiring like too many people in a very short amount of time. And it was like 2021, 2022, and everyone was super excited about like it was, golden rice, or everyone trying to find the best people and to hire. Then we realized that the companies need to be descaled in order to succeed. So we made a tough decision back then just to descale the company, focus on what we had right at that moment. And then after we felt enough strong, we again started to think about scaling the team, scaling the go-to-market motion, and so on. But I think the most important thing in any startup is not about like product scaling or team scaling, but about how you scale the distribution, how you get more users, more customers, how you grow your revenue. If you manage to do so in an effective way, that's a winning formula. Then you can always attract the best people and capital to grow the other parts of the business. So all our attention 3 years ago was on the product and technology, but now the company is growing like significantly faster because both of us, like co-founders of the company, like shifted attention also to go-to-market, and we're like investing heavily in marketing, sales, and the overall distribution. If you figure out scaling the distribution, you would have a category winner. If you don't, even if you have the best product in the market, you're going to lose the competition.
So as you step out on the balcony, you look across all that you've built thus far with Krisp. What are you most proud of?
We paired like a couple of different technologies, and being like relatively like a small team who can make technological breakthroughs. I think that's probably the biggest achievement that I got in my career. If like someone told me 10 years ago that I can build like some kind of technology which would outperform competition, like big tech and everyone in the industry and academia, I would be very pessimistic. But now I realize that we did it. And not only with one product or one technology, but with multiple. That would be like the proud part of building Krisp.
Okay, let's flip the script a little bit. Tell me about a mistake you made and how you and your team responded to it. I know you already mentioned the hiring aspect. I'm curious if it's more on that or if it's something else.
Entrepreneurs is always about making decisions based on limited data and limited information. So we made like a lot of different decisions. When we are looking now, apparently were mistakes, right? One was like scaling company too fast. Second, I would mention we started investing in building like different technology in 2021. In parallel, we have been building like 6 different technologies, and eventually we topped 5 out of those 6 technologies, and just it was like a sunk cost for the company. The other mistake was not enough focus on go-to-market at the early days of the company, not being like too focused on marketing and sales. I can remember like a lot of mistakes. So I think we are still making a lot of mistakes, but like those 3 would be the biggest one. Too soon, then not enough attention on go-to-market, and also building too many things at parallel. Even you have like traction with just one thing, it doesn't mean that you need to start building too many things.
Okay, Arto, let's move forward then. This will be really exciting because Krisp is taking off. Is really making a difference in how it's cleaning up audio for conferencing, for podcasting, for all the things, right? What does the future look like for the product and for your team?
Right now, we have 3 product lines. We have a customer experience product where we power call centers, enterprise call centers. So we have noise cancellation, we have accent conversion, we have voice translation inside that product. So we have the other product line, which we call Meeting Assistant, which basically records, transcribes, summarizes all the meeting data in one workspace. And it also comes with all full voice AI features, which we also have in call center, like translation, accent conversion, and all that stuff. And we also have licensing business where we license all our technologies to small players in the industry. So all 3 business lines are growing pretty fast. And we have this vision to basically extend our product offerings, technology offerings with many voice AI technologies and grow Krisp to a significant size of company. So I think the future is bright and team is super excited and devoted and committed to build this future.
Let's switch to you, Arto. Who influences the way that you work? Name a person or many persons or something you look up to and why.
Elon Musk would be like number 1 in my list. I am always admiring how much value he can create for the humanity with his companies and how much he's managing to do, and also his leadership style, like being in details, being very hands-on, always trying to find the biggest problem in his companies, and by being hands-on and inspiring people to solve those challenging problems. I think he's like the probably number 1 guy, which I really admire for. And we're like also couples. I'm also like a lot the thinking of Naval Ravikant. He has wrote a lot of interesting things on technology, business, and just about life. It's also like super inspiring for me.
Last question. So you're getting on a plane. You're sitting next to a young entrepreneur who's built the next big thing. They're jazzed about it. They can't wait to show it off to the world and can't wait to show it off to you right there on the plane. What advice do you give that person, having gone down this road a bit, several times?
I would advise to be very careful with the health, because it's not like a sprint, but marathon. It would take 10 years to build a great company, and a lot of emotional ups and downs, and also business ups and downs. But by the end, the founder, the entrepreneurs should feel not only like proud of the achievements and the company that he or she has built, but also being like happy in a personal life, being healthy, and being energized just to continue his or her journey. I saw like many people just being burned out during the journey. And I think paying enough attention to the health and the happiness is like super important, especially for the founders.
Couldn't agree more. Arto, thank you for being on the show today. And thank you for telling the creation story of Krisp.
Thank you, Noah. Thank you for inviting me.
And this concludes another chapter of Code Story. Code Story is hosted and produced by Noah Labhart. Be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the podcasting app of your choice. And when you get a chance, leave us a review. Both things help us out tremendously. And thanks again for listening.